we're going to show you some of the conditioning that you're going to need to do at your school. We're going to teach you some of the points, striking points, and ways to condition those points on our body so we can successfully break this concrete and wood, of course, without it breaking our body, because that's what we want to do this is safely. We want to hold tradition true to the martial arts, but we also want to be as safe as we can doing it as we show the application of the stuff that we're learning. But we must condition the striking points. And at this time, I'm going to bring out my oldest son, Sensei Christopher, who has state champions himself in breaking. My middle son, Sensei Fred LaSala, who's right now the reigning ISKA state power breaking champion. And we're going to show you just a few of these techniques to condition your body. First, just kind of introduce you to some of them is like a Makawari training board covered with canvas, and of course you can cover it with rope. We have those we couldn't bring today to this video, but you can cover the board with a good thick rope and do the same thing, and we're going to show you here. Of course, just our wood that we use in breaking, we also use for conditioning. Our block caps that we talked about in the earlier segment of the video, we also use that at my school for conditioning the many body parts that you're going to need to condition. Let's hold this up here. So first, what we're going to do, what we're going to do here is show the punch. And what you would do, of course, is put this up on your school wall, on of course a good wall, a bearing wall, and do some knuckle conditioning with our straight punches into that board. Now, and this isn't done 3 times. This is done thousands of times. Sometimes I tell my students 10,000 times a day or a training session. So thank you, Sensei. But for as much and as serious and as safe as you want to become is the more times you're going to have to hit this to condition. If the camera would come in close here on my knuckles, as you can see, these knuckles from beating against concrete and wood are bigger and built up calcium and callus around them to make them the hard striking point that they need to be and protrude further, of course, than the other knuckles. And we're going to show you on a chop, the conditioning on the striking point. Let's flip your hand a second. The striking point being here on a chop versus where a lot of people see karate chop, or years ago called it a judo chop. But right in here, this striking point is all that we're going to put through many of these items later on, as you'll see. But we need to build that. And of course, you see Sensei in a power stance, and as he pivots his hip, he's hitting the striking point. As the camera zooms in, you can see nothing else is touching here except that very small striking point. And then that has to do also leading towards physics and included into the martial arts, because we want to put the smallest striking point possible through this target that we're trying to break. Or in combat karate on the street, this could represent a joint, a knee, an elbow, that this person's out of control and trying to hurt my family, my students, or myself. And that's what this breaking is all about, the application of that. And this would be the same way. And as we got a little more intense, Sensei Christopher, we would sit a block like this at our school and shoot those into that. We did this so many times, then we would move into this area, because this is very important that these points, Sensei, that these points are conditioned. As we can see with the camera, the white concrete right here, and that's the only spot that we need to condition and that we need to harden to be able to send it through this properly and safely. And now this is going to take time of yourself in the dojo that we can't put to you on tape. We can't give you a secret message. It's going to take your time to apply some of this stuff to your body to make it safe for you to break. The wood, like I said, the wood right at home, we can have, when I used to sit before my world championships in this training, I used to sit at the supper table and hit the side of the leg or the top of the table. You can do this with phone books, your coffee table while you're watching your favorite show. But these striking points in the Shuto strike, karate chop, palm strike, which would be the heel of your hand, we're going to show that. All these parts need to be conditioned, of course, so the material breaks and we don't, and we're able to go to work, go to school, and continue on. Same thing with our Makawari. Sensei, if it was attached to the wall, our palm strike would be into this Makawari several hundred times a day, a practice session 10,000 times a week. Of course, up to you and how seriously you want to become a breaker. So another part on conditioning on the lower body that we want to pick up on before we move to our next segment of the tape. And we talked earlier about the baseball bats, whether you chose to break some baseball bats. I know you've seen some of our world championship on TV, and the contenders that break these bats, and don't mean you're going to win because you're going to break them, but it does mean that you have a heck of a conditioned shin to be able to do this. And the same way, my son Sensei Brett is the one who's kind of famous at our school for breaking these bats. Let me see your leg, Sensei Brett. And the part of that he breaks here with his leg is right in this shin area here. And we use a lot of different makawari, as we showed you earlier, which you would connect, of course, to a pole at your school, a wall. And hold that for him, Sensei, please. Let's do a shin strike. And you would do shin strikes into this makawari repeatedly. Of course, to build up that area that we're going to be striking with. Okay, if you wanted to successfully break bats instead of hit baseballs with them and not break your leg in doing it. But again, years of conditioning. We're not going to run out and next week buy this video, please, anyone, and grab a baseball bat from Kmart or somewhere and try to kick your leg through it. A lot of conditioning. We're going to move down into the feet area. Sensei, Christopher, put this. Let's just sit this down here, down into our striking point when we break what we had earlier in the video. We had some G blocks, and these are called angle blocks. And we break our block caps with these also. But what he does, he's going to show the ball of the foot here. The ball of the foot is the striking point that we're going to use to put through these blocks. And just like the rest of our body, these are going to need to be conditioned. And he's just at home, at the dojo, and at his house at home, he trains many hours against concrete, against, again, a pole wrapped with rope, a makawari, or canvas-covered object or board. As we represented here, that would be the same thing with the ball of the foot into here, again, thousands, 10,000 times in a training session to condition and harden that part of the foot. Also the heel in a side kick. The heel, sir? With the heel also is conditioning, and that's how I was been blessed to win 2 of my world titles is with my side kick. With this heel, putting it through the exact striking and focus the point that we need to in the center of the object. But again, conditioning is going to be something that you have to take on as a responsibility if you want to be a breaker, conditioning that heel. Again, against concrete, a pole, a makawari, you start out soft and go up into your training sessions into something hard. So now we have covered from the top of the body down, and we're going to show you some other strikes that we didn't just cover here. And again, it goes right back to those points need to be conditioned also. So we covered from here our hands, our shin for the bats, and our feet, the ball of the foot, and heel. And we just have some more exciting stuff to show you. This part we're going to